How we doing there, boys and girls? Manthieus here, and welcome back to another video. So I've kind of taken it a little bit upon myself to try my best to keep you guys up to date with everything that's coming in Dragonflight regarding the professions, the economy, crafting, gathering, all of that sort of stuff. And today we have something relatively juicy to talk about. Now, I do got to say from the word go that I don't have all of the answers for today's videos, but it's a step in the right direction. This will probably be part one of a two-part series, I suspect, this week, talking about the crafting orders, or the work order system, whichever you choose to call it. We finally have some information from the devs about exactly how this system is going to progress. It feels very weird to me personally that we are now technically in pre-patch. You know, if you a day or two ago pre-patch launched, we're officially in 10.0. Dragonflight is literally right round the corner, and this is the very first time I've been able to, you know, talk to you guys with any form of information about this new system. As what I do tend to feel is it's quite a crucial system to how Dragonflight is going to play out. Normally, the professions are something that just, you know, goblins and stuff can deal with. Most people don't need to worry too much about professions, but professions are very integral to the progression path in Dragonflight, and the crafting order system is likely to be the glue that holds them together. But let's talk about what we now know. There was a blue post that came out only a couple of days ago. We'll have a little bit of a look through the blue post first, and then I'll showcase what it looks like and how it feels in game. We got this blue post about 12 hours ago at this point. Finally giving us some information about crafting orders. So let's take a little look. We are happy to introduce the final addition to the revamped professions, the crafting orders. This is a new system which will allow everybody to send orders to have specific items crafted for them. This is going to include epic soulbound equipment. There is the likelihood that when you start playing around with the professions, you'll quite quickly come to realize that most of the endgame stuff's bind on pickup, which in previous expansions has always meant that, well, if it's bind on pickup, you can craft it for yourself, but there's not much opportunities to share that love with others. This is where the crafting order system will come in place. It will allow the transition of those soulbound initially materials into the hands of the crafters, for the crafters to work some magic on it, for then, you know, somebody to actually get a good quality piece of crafted armor or weapon out the back of it. For the moment, the crafting orders are only going to be initially accessible on Tierhold realm only, and will be enabled on Valdrakken realm later at this date. For those of you that have beta access, you probably understand this. There are 3 realms on the beta. Valdrakken is like the level 70, the end game test server where all the profession vendors are, where you can test the raid, you can test Mythic Plus, that sort of stuff. Tierhold is one of the leveling servers. It's where you can only make level 60 characters. You have to level up, and it's the frustration for me is it's actually on the 3rd realm where I have all of my characters. So hopefully they do let us test this on the other realms, or I'm going to have to get to leveling really quickly. But don't worry too much about that. Once the game goes live, of course, none of this matters. You will find the crafting order clerks standing on the overlook above the artisans market in Valdrakken, and they will now be accepting your crafting orders. Where is that then? Let's take a look at where that actually is. We can see exactly where that is if we take a look at the minimap on Valdrakken. Valdrakken is the capital city in Thaldraszus, and within Valdrakken there's the artisans market, and exactly where my mouse cursor is right now is this little location where you have a few NPCs for the crafting orders. There's 3 of them here currently. Frustratingly, they don't work just yet. This is, like I said at the beginning of the video, we have some of the answers today, but not all of them. Stay tuned for part 2 to see how this interface actually looks. But this is going to be the location where people will come to place their orders. This is where all of the, you know, the hustle and the bustle will be. This is, consider it Auction House 2.0. This is where people are going to be able to come, they're going to be able to place their orders, and then crafters will be able to pick up those orders and, you know, do their magic with it. So, we've, oh, hello, what's going on here? So we've placed ourselves our orders, Okay, should you wish to try sending a crafting order, speak with one of the NPCs. You will be able to browse for an item that you wish to order, customize it how you see fit, Customizing it could be one of a multitude of things. It could be asking for missives to be used on it to specify secondary stats. It could be utilizing a primal infusion or a concentrated primal infusion. They're the two optional reagents that are going to bump up the item level of this crafted gear to, say, either heroic or mythic item level quality. Or it could be to use an embellishment on the item, an optional reagent that gives any specific item a slight extra bonus perk. So this is the level of customization you're going to be able to do. If you've been playing in patch 9.2 recently through Zereth Mortis, you'll be aware that they introduced the progenitor enhancements. This is kind of the next system on from that. They're taking the progenitor enhancement system, which was reasonably well received, I think, but it had the drawback of that it was very hard to find the piece of gear with the right enhancement on it. Big reason to why the crafting order system is going to be a thing. But that's the level of customization that you're going to be able to request. And this is partly to alleviate the fact that the auction house is not necessarily the easiest thing to browse and find that exact item that you're looking for. It also goes on to say that you may be able to write a courteous message to the crafter, and then you can post up the order. Now, by default, your order will be public, allowing any appropriately knowledgeable crafter on your realm to fulfill it. We already know one thing about when you put orders out to the public. When you put a public order out, you are unlikely to be able to specify the quality of the item that you're requesting. It's public orders are going to be for those people who just straight up want the item. You can worry about the quality at a later date. There's a recrafting system coming alongside this, hopefully, fingers crossed. There's a recrafting system that allows you to take a normal piece of gear that you already have and give it back to a crafter with the specification of using optional reagents or item level enhancements and X, Y, and Z. You can give it back to the crafter at a later date and they can work their magic on it again to hopefully improve the quality of that piece of gear. So the public orders is just going to be for those people that just straight up want the item. They're not worried about quality yet, they just want it, and they presumably are going to want it for as little gold as they can get away with. By default, your order will be public, although you can choose to send a guild order or a personal order to somebody in particular with the right profession. This is where this is, in my opinion at least, this is likely to be where the money's going to be made. Where for those of you out there that are looking to actually make some serious amounts of gold from this system, from leveling up your professions and specializing in a way that allows you to craft things that others can't, it is, in my opinion, that the personal order system will be where you make gold. The likelihood will be is the public order system will just be a wild, wild west of just zero tip work orders. The public system will be used for those that just want to fulfill as many work orders as they can in quick succession, probably with the bonus to them of leveling up their professions, because you can gain skill points in your professions by utilizing and filling work orders. There is a limit to the amount of work orders that we're going to be able to actually fill on the public marketplace, though. We'll look at that in a little bit as well. But it's the public side of things where I really think the true artisans, the true crafters will probably make their gold. Simply because if you can get your name out there on your realm that you're a jewel crafter, or you're a leather worker, or you're a blacksmith that is specialized in one specific direction and is reliable, is online frequently, has a quick turnaround time, the likelihood is that people will start to work out who you are. And obviously there's a little bit of advertising you could potentially do in trade chat as well if you wanted to. I would not be too surprised to see the crafters lurking in trade chat, want to sell X, Y, and Z in profession X, Y, and Z, send a personal order, 5k tip. I don't know, that's just hypothetical. But I suspect it will be hunting and seeking out those personal orders, which is where the lucrative gold making opportunities will be. Once the order's gone in, though, for all crafters out there, this is going to be your chance to start filling those orders. A crafter can find any crafting table for your profession in the Dragon Isles. There are many within the Artisans Market in Valdrakken, and either right-click on the table or open your recipes manually. You'll find that the Crafting Orders tab at the bottom of your recipe with your recipes is then accessible. From there, you can search to browse the public, the guild, or the personal orders that you may have received. Once you've claimed your order, you can provide any of the missing reagents, craft the item in question, fill out a courteous message back to your customer, and then complete the order, collecting your commission. There's a lot to break down there. There's a lot to break down. Let's start with the basics. Let's work out, well, where are these table businesses at? The tables are also located in Valdrakken for the most part, but they are dotted around the map generally. We've already worked out where all of the people placing the orders are going to chill. They're going to chill just up here, but the rest of the artisans market, there's usually one for each profession, but there's profession tables dotted about. We can see over here we have the jewel crafters table. I'll probably be lurking around this area quite a lot. I'm a jewel crafter on my main character. And if we take a little bit of a look down here as well, there's also an area for a bunch of the other professions. We have the tailoring benches, the tailoring workbenches. In the middle here we have cooking and fishing, and for me personally, once again, we have the leatherworking tool bench over here. Coming and finding one of your workbenches will bring up this new interface now. This is, it doesn't particularly, hang on, you know what I probably could do is I could make that a little bit easier to see. There we go, that's now in the middle of the screen. This is your usual crafting window. We have the recipes that you're able to craft, we have your specialization trees. There's now a third tab. That third tab presents you with this crafting order window. We mentioned earlier about just people on the public just trying to fill public orders as fast and as frequently as they can for skill points. This is quite interesting. There does seem to be an orders remaining. You can currently fill 30 more public orders. The wording there is quite specific. This limitation to how many work orders you can fill only seems to apply for when you're fulfilling public work orders. If there's a guild work order or a personal work order, I don't believe there's going to be any restriction for you to just filling those as fast and as frequently as possible. Let's take a little look at this interface then. What we can quite quickly see is that on the public work orders at least, you're going to have the name of the recipe, the item in question that people want crafted. This is going to be an interesting addition, the fact that it's also going to tell you the player who placed that order as well. I'm going to talk in a second about how this could be really crucial. We have the commission that's being offered. This was initially called a tip, but it seems to be that they're working towards the commission aspect. Maybe the tip culture is a very American thing for the most part. Tipping culture is not too universal, yet commissions are a little bit more widely understood. Any reagents that are being provided, or more importantly, not being provided, with the order will appear in this list, and then a little indication to how long left the order has before it expires. We've had a little bit of a sneak preview as well, that if an order is about to expire, we don't know what Blizzard's definition of about is, but what we do understand is that if that order is about to expire, if you choose to fill it, it may not necessarily come off your quota for the day. Meaning that the incentive is for people to fill the orders. They're not going to penalise people filling those orders if there's, only an hour or so left on them. Blizzard seems to have the impression that just getting people the item is better than not getting the item, which makes sense, I suppose. I mentioned a second ago that the player name is going to be crucial, and there's a reason I think this is going to be the case. I mentioned earlier that I tend to really actually feel that it's the personal work orders to where the actual gold will be made. When you put a public order out there, because you can't specify the quality for the item that you're going to get, it's not super useful for most people, or it won't be after a certain period of time. There'll come a point where people won't need just any old quality. They'll need a quality 4 or a quality 5, a higher quality item. That's probably going to mean, though, that this will be used by players as a bit of a notice board, a bit of an indication to players that I want this item, but I actually want it at quality 4, quality 5. Now, you can't specify that on the public one, but if you can draw a crafter's attention by posting a public work order here, and let's not forget there was a messaging system built into this in some way, shape or form, you could quite easily see the player that wants the item, message them directly, offer them the fact that you can craft that item at a high tier quality and see if they're willing to cancel their public order, send you a personal order for the exact quality that they're looking for, and then you as a crafter can charge a commission that's more appropriate for the effort that you've put in. Now, I don't know how much of the hopium I'm huffing on this one, but I feel that that's more of a fair system overall. Most of the time in other games where we've seen a system such as this, it is usually paired with a selling system as well. You have buy orders and sell orders in other games, and it's a very common economy system to be used. Now, of course, in World of Warcraft, we're only getting half of that solution. Meaning that crafters are going to have to sort of create the other half themselves. And I do feel that this public order system may be just that. 0 commissions will be put on this, but the commissioner will be on the premise of that, you know, it's for people to try and draw the attention of the crafters to actually get the quality that they need. And you'll also then be able to circumvent this limitation if you are a crafter that's really dedicated to it and you want to spend more time doing this. But let's continue with the blue post then. Let's continue with the blue post. Where did we get to? So we were breaking this paragraph down, weren't we? You'll find that blah, blah, blah. You can search for the browse public. Once you've claimed the order, you can provide any of the missing reagents. This is an interesting one for me. Provide any of the missing reagents. This still gives me the impression that people placing orders are going to either be able to provide all of the materials, none of the materials, or somewhere in the middle. This is going to be really frustrating for the crafters because it's going to make it borderline impossible to work out, well, what is it going to cost me as a crafter to fill that order? And more importantly, if it's going to cost me something to fill that order, does the commission being provided make it worth my while? I'm not best impressed that this is the decision that Blizzard's gone. I've been a big advocate for people to provide none of the materials or all of the materials. Then it's two extremes and it's far easier for everybody to understand what's going on. If you start giving some of the materials but not all of them, it makes it really difficult to price items. And let's not forget, if you're the person that's placing the order, it's not necessarily your responsibility to understand what the value and the cost of every single component that goes into that. That's why we have specialist crafters. You're asking crafters to be, you know, super duper artisans, professionals at your work. Then you're not giving them any tools to be able to do that effectively. So I think that this approach of providing some of the materials is not a great one. I would much rather it be that if you place an order, you have to provide all of the materials, and then a crafter can take that order and make that piece of gear if they are capable of doing it. A crafter would then go away, craft the item in question, fill out a courteous message back to the customer when completing the order, and collect your commission in the same time. It's likely to be a logistical issue for me more than anything else about where do these materials go. Are there going to be materials being provided to people who accept orders for them to go off and do the crafting with? What's actually going to be the transaction of those materials? If some of the materials are provided, when you go and try and fill that order, are those going to already be taken care of when you press the craft button? This also brings about another question. The other question for me is that, well, how does things like inspiration and resourcefulness and multi-craft come into play with this? There are the new stats that are being introduced with Dragonflight for crafters that are clearly going to make a difference. What happens in a scenario, and I'm not the only one thinking this, by the way. There was a comment left on the Wowhead thread for this. I wonder how it works with inspiration. What if you need an inspiration proc to fulfill the required quality? Can you not take the order? That would basically make inspiration a really worthless stat. And I can't help but agree with this fella. It's a new stat. It's a new system being implemented with crafting. But if it doesn't make a blind bit of difference when filling work orders, it's just going to feel weird. Hopefully, we'll have answers for this very soon. Finally, on this little blue post, we are looking forward to your thoughts and your feedback, particularly on how understandable and convenient you find the experience. Happy ordering and crafting. It's nice for me to see that they are looking at the convenience level of this. My concerns with the entire system from day one was that it doesn't feel very convenient. The convenient system is the auction house. People craft things, people list them on the auction house. You as a buyer can browse the auction house, and if there's something you want, you click it, you buy it, it's in your mailbox. Now, there are occasions where the exact item you want is not on the auction house, and that's where I think the work order system holds a lot of strength and a lot of merit is in having a system like that. But the frustration for me is that they're pushing the work order system not to supplement the auction house, but to be instead of it, as most of the crafted gear that we're going to be looking at pushing through work orders is bind on pickup and cannot be in the auction house, full stop. So the convenience level for me is low. I don't really feel the work order system is going to be very convenient, certainly not for people looking to get their hands on certain bits of gear. It's hopefully going to be a system that is not so inconvenient that people don't use it, but I do have my concerns all the same. I really hope we can see it in a little bit more detail as and when the beta continues to upgrade what we have available to test. Soon as we have more, I will let you know more. That's the best I can offer to you guys, really. At the moment, we can only see small snippets of it, but like I said, if you're intrigued to how this system's going to play out, make sure you hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Yes, I do hope to do a part 2 to this soon as we have a little bit more information. But I'll leave it there for today, boys and girls. Let me know what your thoughts are on this to begin with. Is it starting to come to fruition on how you expected it to? Did you expect it to look like this? Did you expect it to work like this? Are there any teething issues that you would want me to go out there and investigate in a little bit more detail? I will do what I can to test this as thoroughly as possible. But I'll leave it there for today, boys and girls. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you all next time. Peace.